So I have to tell you this. I've been reading the book of Hebrews, and wow, it totally feels different from other books in the New Testament. It is been so impactful, so powerful, so amazing to read this book. And sometimes we read and we don't realize we miss a lot of things. And when you go over again, you start getting new revelation. You got to start getting new things from the Word of God. And today, I want to share with you a few things that I learned from from the book of Hebrew, and it's so powerful. It's so deep. This book, and it's something we can actually live out in our daily life. Every day that we go by our life, we can live those things, and not only live those things, but we can understand who Jesus is. And the big picture of this book is one of the first things that I realized in the book of Hebrew. It's about the main thing that it's talking about. It's talking about Jesus is the greatest, greater than the angels, greater than Moses, greater than the old uh, ways of doing sacrifice. He is that I am. And the one thing that got my attention in Hebrews 1:3, it says, the Son is the radiance of God's glory. And that exact representation of his being. So, sustaining all things by his power and by his powerful words. And that verse kind of hit me because it reminded me that when I look at Jesus, I am not just looking at a teacher or at a prophet. I am looking at God Himself. And that's what a lot of people miss when He said, if you see me, you have seen my Father. And it make me think when the disciple asked Jesus in John 14, verse 8 and 9, Philip asked Jesus, Lord, show us the Father, and that will be enough. At least for us, that will be enough. And Jesus' response was very powerful because he said, whoever has seen me has seen the Father. So if you see the Son, you have seen the radiance of the glory of God. And that is so amazing. That is so powerful because Jesus was the radiance of the Father. Another big thing that I take away from reading for me, how the Hebrew call us to endure in our faith. Life gets tough. We go through challenges, doubts, every dry season spiritually that we go through. The book of Hebrew reminds us and point us back to our faith, point us back to Jesus. Hebrews 11:1 said, now faith is the confidence in what we have hoped for, an assurance about what we do not see. And there's a lot of people struggling with their faith. There's a lot of people walking away from their faith. And for me, that means faith isn't about having everything we want or having figured things out. And I definitely don't have it everything figured out. It's about trusting God. Even when you can see, when you cannot see the full picture of what God has for us. And honestly, that encouraged me because sometimes I don't see the whole picture. Sometimes I don't see what God is doing in our lives. And sometimes we want all things answered right away. We want things like I used to say microwave instantly. And I have a moment when I have to ask God, where are you? I don't see you in this situation. what you have done. We don't see him working, or we don't see, or we think that he's not working on our behalf. But Hebrews remind us that walking by faith, not by sight, and that Jesus is always working in our behalf. Why is that? Well, I knew this part, but I didn't realize how deep it was. And I never put two and two together. The idea of Jesus being our high priest, what does that mean? The Hebrews spend a lot of time here explaining and talking about Jesus as our high priest. And first, I thought, okay, what that have to do with me today? How this apply to me today? How this mean? How that mean for my life? But Hebrews 4, verse 15 and 16 gave me the answer of this. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to empathize with our weaknesses. But we have one who has been tempted in every way, just as we are, yet he did not sin. Let us think about this real quick. Let us then approach the throne of God with grace, with confidence. And this verse reminds us and made me realize something that I think is very important. I think there had to be something deeper than just thinking about God as a high priest. Perfect. The truth is that I don't have to be perfect to come to God. I don't. Jesus already understand my struggles. He already made a way for me to come to him. And that is big, because sometimes we don't approach God because we think we're sinners, we're imperfect, we're going through a lot of things, because we're doing certain things that we shouldn't do. And Jesus is telling you, come to me the way you are. Come to me how you are. It doesn't matter what you're going through. He's saying, just come to me. I already paid the price. I am your high priest. I understand what your struggle is. I understand what you're going through. I understand that you feel a certain way and you think that I'm not working on your behalf, but I'm working on your behalf. I'm doing things that you don't even realize. You know how many things I thought that Jesus wasn't there working in my behalf, and then come to realize later, even years later, wow, I went through this situation and I didn't realize that Jesus was working in that situation, that Jesus was involved in that situation, that Jesus prevented me from falling. So powerful. And finally, Hebrew gave us this amazing encouragement in Hebrews 12, verse 1 and 2. This is so amazing. Let us run with perseverance. Don't give up. The race marked for us, fixing our eyes in Jesus, the pioneer and perfecters of our faith. Jesus is always working. I love that, because life really is like a race. Sometimes we run a little bit slower. Sometimes we want to run it fast. It's exhausting. Sometimes it's like an uphill battle.